Hi, so here in this video I'm going to give you kind of a bird's eye view in the walk with Lucy. So here the idea is to interrupt expressed states where her decision-making process is pushing beyond the boundary lines of the follower script. What we're going to do is bring a little influence over how her mind is reaching out, and it's going to kind of nudge it back into the follower script. Now this is where the whole concept of the relational model with fading out, okay, or how the mind separates, is getting in tune to that. Because again, not waiting for the mind to explode, it's really getting in tune to the interplay so that you, through just subtle, how the head turns slightly, but it's also context too. Understand that at this level in dogs holding power, a look just isn't a look. Okay, they're starting to wrap their mind. It's starting to solidify into an expressed state. Okay, we already know that. So therefore, we have to interrupt those states. Okay, now the interruption isn't at a corrective level that way at a high intensity. What I'm doing is, you'll see me tap, tap, tap. Okay, just as the mind is starting to separate. Okay, this is how you can overcome what they call reactivity with dogs. But it's an expressed state. Okay, it's not just some sort of a packaged up behavioral issue here that you deal with separately through counter conditioning and everything. This is about influence. So you need influence, has to come online, but it's very kind of just smooth in a nudging way. So right here, see me nudge a little bit? Nudge, nudge, nudge. See the head turn towards me? See it come right in? And she's looking up. Okay, but it's working off my personality. Understand, this is about everything coming online. Okay, so the nudging is an expression of who I am. So it's all about how it defines and how it's packaged up. So because really, when dogs bite people, it's playing off their personality. If someone steps into her world, and she's not role changed, and even before that leash moves, she could express that power onto the person. Or at the level she's at, she'd be holding such a huge amount of power that even a little influence onto her leadership, she'll react. Okay, that's what was her issue. She's just the amount of power she's holding. So here what I'm going to do is lay out the walker so you can see a little bit, see her reaction, see me kind of nudging, just get an idea of this. But my neighborhood is full of dogs, okay? It's got dogs everywhere. They're all like behind fences, and people are walking them at times. So all I'm doing is playing off that. I'm not trying to cause any problems with the other dogs. I'm just walking, okay? So it just gives me an opportunity to build that bridge so I can start to bring her under a little bit of influence, so I can start to work her into the script. Okay, this will help her, because how I'm defining this is saying, I'm not saying she can't meet the other dogs, okay, that level. I'm just saying that when the meeting happens, it's got to be as a follower. So what I'm doing is I'm defining it. It's a conditional state, okay, which means that's why you see me using the method such as the push-pull technique. Not on the walk here. I'm just going to be giving a little nudge with the leash, but she's on a choke chain a little bit here too, and only because at her level, I'm not, just so you know, with devices, I'm not using the choke chain physically that way where I'm trying to bring undue unreasonable force onto her. It just allows me in my techniques, when you see me lock in, just that she can't get out of slipping out from over her head. And that's going to be a problem with a lot of dogs that hold a lot of power. If that collar isn't tight enough, they'll get out, and then you got a real problem. So, especially here where I need the control mechanism. But I'll keep that in mind when I'm using she'll lay down, let her go down, that's fine. Here, it's all context. So here, because she's getting bored, she's saying, Dale, you're just talking too much, and I need to get out there and do your thing, and I'll do my thing, right? Right, Lucy? So, but anyway, it's all how this sets up. So, we're getting back to the choke chain, okay? It's how the device is used, whether it's in the context of control. So a lot of people will use, say, a pinch collar. It'll control the walk, but it isn't changing anything. That's why even exercise, you can expel energy, but it may not change anything to create relational change, because it's not aligning, it's not changing how the person thinks, it's not coming in the right alignment, okay? Which means that it's got to be meaningful, it's got to be direct. You have to tighten it up, so to speak, okay? It's got to be in a way that's kind of getting in her head. Okay, so, but you have to be in tune to the interplay of the mind. So, following the whole issue of a corrective, like within that interpretive script, a correction, Again, this is proactive. It's relational. It's about relational change. We're out of the box. We already know we have to move the relationship. Now, how do we do that? We're creating what I define as follower moments. Those are the building blocks of change. So what happens each moment that happens, that takes shape, we're fading in. Okay, which means that the interplay of that at the physical level will be, as you saw just a minute ago, is your head will turn in towards you. Every time you just kind of nudge the leash a little bit as the mind separates, the head turns in towards you. But the goal is that every time you flex, you want to have a little slack. Because again, it's like clarity. You don't want to keep pressure, or you don't want to keep the collar tight, because then it doesn't make sense to her. You're just keeping her mind under a level of influence when she's already in the follower script, okay? So what it is, it's meaningful, okay, which means that it happens as it separates. When the head turns in after a tap, 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 head turns in, stop, you should have some slack, then you move forward. So but understand, each time you create a moment, you fade in, which represents the head turning in, okay? So your level of being objectified decreases within that moment. And then each moment that you create within all these different interactions, they're your investment when it comes to influencing her overall decision-making process. So as you do this day after day, behavior diminishes, okay? Those express states of mind diminish, and then it takes hold. Then her mind decision-making process will hold within the follower script, because relationally, that's how it's influenced. Okay, it's defined within the pack relationships. So dogs are relational beings, but you can't. If you start to think differently about this, then you're probably entering your dog's world, and you'll be deceived to how power plays out. Okay, but anyway, I'm going to bring her up. But there's even a technique here for bringing a dog straight. Sometimes you don't have to bring them straight up. Okay, you move the leash forward, and kinetically, what happens is it generates more power to further out the leashes if needed, and she'll lift. So, for example, I'll just move this way a little slightly, put a little pressure on her. Now here, there we go. She lifts, you bring her in, and then just tap, tap, tap. So anyway, I start moving forward with her, okay? Now here, in those situations with the leash when you're locking in, I mean, you can encourage her a little bit, Lucy, but understand, that's like kind of background noise. You're using it, and it does certainly help to pull her in that way, because it is relational, okay? So, but understand the whole context of positive when you're rewarding a dog in certain states of mind at this level. Don't make assumptions, because if the person's in need of a lot of change relationally, you don't want them petting all over the dog right now, because you need to bring as much leadership online as possible. So the positive message here is the fact you're lifting the burden of this role off them. So, but saying that, it's not meant to be aggressive. It's like being a parent. It's balanced, okay? So here, just tap, tap. Even as I'm moving, I'm tap, tapping a little bit. You may not be able to talk at times, or the wind noise here might not be able to hear me as well, but you just kind of watch how this kind of goes. Role change takes hold after a while that, a look is just a look, okay? It's not you're not going to be interrupting like this, but it's context. You have to know when the dog comes in a state of balance, or when relational change is needed. Okay, that's when. So here you can tell there's stress on her because her ears are, so tap, tap right there. here. This is the area here last night. She got pretty reactive down here. So, I believe there's some big dogs behind some fences. I couldn't see them last night, but she was reacting really. And you see her reactions pick up here a little bit. Again, I can't think that way though, because you don't want her to pick up that I'm thinking any different. I have to be totally clear-minded and just these. This area here. Go the other way. I'm going to go back through that same area. So it's all about leadership. Okay, confidence is based on that, but hey. Good. So, you notice there's an area back there that she was a lot more reactive. So, last night it's even gotten better, but not on its own, because it's about interruption at the right times. It's about bringing her mind under influence just as it starts to express. So, it just takes a little nudging form, okay, to bring her wits back into the script, okay, start to work the script. So here's the same thing. You can't let her pull back. She starts slowing down a little bit. Just tap to get her up, move right up into position, and can't let her go ahead either. Let her just little nudges. Even cars go by, just a slight nudge just to bring her mind back in, because that's where the stress is on her. Her ears are back, stressed because she was putting out a lot of power. So her mind pivots that way relationally. So if it's misaligned at the level it's at, things are going to set the mind off. So just knowing, understanding that the path to take is through leadership, but defined this way. You got to be in tune to how the ebb and flow of the dog's mind, but not waiting till it explodes. Okay, that's not it. You just have to, as it separates, you got tap, tap, tap. But that's the kind of depth of the interpretive script that you have to follow. So bring her back up into my little area here, and back up. In. So here she goes in. So it's the same thing here. You saw how that played out, but if you go back and watch, I got quiet for a second because I had to focus, okay? It's hard to video and concentrate at the levels that are needed, because the script is different. You have to be really focused in on how the mind's separating. So you saw there, to watch part of the video, there's an area down the street last night. There's things going on down there. There's dogs in the back and stuff, because she gets highly reactive. Last night it was like pretty high. In fact, she pulled so hard at one point, it kind of hurt one of my fingers, and this is how the leash pulled. But again, it's got under control, but here today, it's the same thing. It's understanding. You can go back into that area, but it's about how you think. If you start to hold on to that in your own mind and kind of say like, oh no, you're going to have issues and problems because she senses that. Okay, she knows the path the mind is taking, so it just empowers her. So it's all about thinking rightly. You've got to engage her at the leadership level. So on this end of the leash, I'm projecting the right path, okay? So, and I'm expressing that through how I'm connecting with the leash. And at the relational level, it all connects, and I'm interrupting those states, okay? So as the mind starts to pull away, as she starts to wrap her mind, engage, react, you got to nudge it, okay? You got to nudge, you bring a little influence over, and then you see the head will turn in. So you saw her ears are back, so she's definitely stressed. But as this goes on, the ears will start coming up, okay? And it's just like a picture, just kind of like, picture like a flower opening up, okay, the picture of that. And so the ears will come up, the body will start to relax, okay? So as you continue to bring her into the script, because what happens is, as describing on there, every time you create a moment, take hold for a second or two, and that's the state of mind where her head's turned in, she's calm for a second or two, then it'll loosen up again, and then you just keep working those moments until over time, okay, they're your investment. That's what influences an overall decision-making process of the dog, okay? They'll take hold and they'll stay within that script. And not because it's suppressing behavior like some people want, it's relational influence, okay? Their decision-making process is influenced that way. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this provides good insight. Have a good day.